Timestamps will be in the description box if you want to skip through this video.
Hi and welcome to my channel Modern Modiste. In today's video I'm showing you how I made the green wrap satin dress. In my last video I made the pink dress, which I actually made after this green dress. Go check that one out if you want your satin wrap dress to have a bit more frill. But if you're satisfied with the basic satin dress, then this is the video for you. Satin wrap dress, then this is the video for you. Okay, so let's get into it.
Okay, so I started by tracing my pattern onto my folded fabric. I created this pattern tracing one of my shirts. You can see how I did that in the video linked. I marked the waistline and traced a line across. Then I extended the center edge 4 inches and traced a line from that 4-inch mark to the shoulder. I cut those out for the fronts, then traced my pattern on the fold for the back. I marked the waistline again and then cut the back out. I traced my sleeve pattern onto the fabric and extended the sides for a wider sleeve, then cut the sleeves out. I cut 2 strips of fabric for my ties and pressed the sides in, including one of the short sides, and then pressed them in half. I pinned at the folded short edge to hold in place, then sewed around that short side and the edges opposite the fold. After sewing my ties, I lined up the shoulders of my 2 fronts and back, right sides facing, and sewed together. I switched to an overlock foot, trimmed the fray, and overlock stitched the raw edges. Next, I measured around the inner neck and fronts. I cut 2 fabrics half the length I got, plus ½ inch seam allowance by 5 inches. I put these 2 right sides facing and sewed them together along one of the short sides. I pressed the seam open and then pressed down the sides 1/4 inch and then the whole thing in half. I lined up the center seam with the center back, right sides facing, and pinned to the rest of the neckline and inner fronts. Then I measured up 1 inch from the bottom and pinned my ties and folded the front collar piece over. Then I pinned the rest of the collar in half. I sewed in place, sewing in the ditch. So I pinned my ties so that they were facing out and not towards the inside of the dress, and sewed them in place along the edge. Next, I pinned the center of my sleeves curve to the shoulder seam, right sides facing. Then pinned the rest of the sleeves curve to the armhole. I sewed in place and overlock stitched the raw edge and repeated with the other sleeve. I pinned one side closed from the armpit seam down the side and then down the sleeve. Then for the other side, I cut 2 pieces of fabric that I pressed in half. I pressed in a short side of these fabrics as well and pinned it folded in half to each bottom on this side. Then I sewed them in place. Next, I pinned this side closed starting at the armpit. I'm going to sew the sides closed, but I'm going to leave this open. I finished the raw edges with a zigzag stitch. I measured the bottom edge of the top and used that measurement in the circle skirt formula I found on Google in place of where the waist measurement would be used. With my fabric folded in half, I measured my radius across the top from that corner to create a curved line. Then I measured from that curved line down according to my desired length and cut it out. I had to cut my skirt in 3 pieces since I was short on fabric and couldn't fit all my skirt in one. So now I'm just joining all my skirt panels together, sewing them right sides facing. After sewing them together, I hemmed the 2 inner edges of the skirt with a double fold. I wanted the back of my dress to be gathered, which I took into consideration when measuring my circle skirt, so I sewed a long stitch at the longest stitch length my machine would allow between the side seams to gather. I pulled the top thread to gather the back of my dress. Then I pinned the skirt to the top right sides facing. I sewed the 2 together and finished the raw edge with an overlock stitch. I didn't want to top stitch, so I sewed the seam down at the sides here. Now for my sleeves, I folded my edge twice, leaving an opening to feed my elastic through. Using a safety pin to help, I gutted my elastic through and pinned the ends of my elastic together. I sewed the elastic ends together, then pulled the elastic into the fabric and sewed the opening closed and repeated on the other sleeve. To complete the project, I sewed a straight stitch across the bottom of my dress, about 1/4 to 1/2 inch from the edge. I folded the bottom at that stitched line and pressed with the iron. I sewed a stitch very close to the edge. Then trimmed the excess fabric off and folded again and pressed. I sewed that fold in place to hem my dress. And that completes this project.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned because I made something super cute and I'm going to be posting it soon. Follow me on Instagram if you want. And you can also subscribe to my blog at modernmodiste.com so you can get updates on my projects, written tutorials, list of tools and materials, and I'm going to be adding some tips, some sewing tips, and some good fashion finds. So go subscribe so you can stay in the loop over there. And thank you for watching. Bye.